How are we going, everyone? I'm just playing with my soil here, just inspecting it, because now with winter settled in, soil temperature drops, and this soil's always been very active. But the thing about worms, and you know, we found worms in the past in here, the thing about it now with the colder weather is they tend to go down a little bit deeper to get away from the sort of frosty edge. So there's nothing in here, but look at, this is really good soil. Let me brag just for a little. I'm just going to go down deep and see if I can spot any worms further down below. They've disappeared. They really don't do a lot of eating. They do slow down. And I don't think I'm going to find any in here. It's pretty unusual, isn't it? You reckon they've just disappeared for good? They might not be in here. Now here we are. So, am I missing? I need glasses, don't I? Yeah. Can't see what I'm doing. So I'm going to do a little trial. And the trial is, well, first I wanted to see if there were any worms in here. There isn't any. And it shouldn't be the case where worms are the only thing that you need. This is a raised bed, and it's hollow down there. Wow. There's absolutely... Well, we started off with one topic, and we're going to end up with something else. Look at that. Oh, I've just gone straight down to the slurry. Oh, yuck. It's not yuck. It's all the straw decomposing. Look at that. There they are. There's our friends. See where they are? Down at the bottom. Why would you want to be at the top? So they're all down below. I'll tell you how far down. This far down. This far down. This far down. Anyway, all right. So what we're doing, yeah, have a look. Go and have a look. Can you see it? Look at the worm. He's down in there. So he's about 30 or 40 centimetres down below. And that's pretty typical with, I mean, I won't say the earthworms will go that far, but obviously the food is down there. And I reckon because the mulch along the sides here, there may be some in here too. Because they're looking for the carbon. They've got to eat something, don't they? They've got to have all that organic matter breaking down. So what I'm going to do today, and I've said that 100 times, is I'm going to use coffee grounds. So yesterday, well, this is today that we're filming it, yesterday Sunday, and today's Sunday. Okay, start again with silly. Yesterday on Saturday I was at the Gardener's Day Out, and the talk that I did there, I had a couple of questions about worms. Well, only because sorry guys, if you can't see what's going on this side of the fence, I've got Cara there who's just licked my hands like I'm a lollipop. Stop. Anyway, so at the talk there, they were asking about worms because I mentioned about a show I did in Point Cook where John had bags of coffee grounds he was collecting from cafes, or I think it was their son's cafe or something like that. It's been a long time since I was there. He put the coffee grounds in the garden bed, but he had them in a plastic bag, and he had a hole where the bag was touching the soil. So the coffee grounds were going basically through into the soil or connecting to it. And when we were there filming the show, we had a look at the coffee grounds, talking about coffee and being a fertiliser, which you can use in the garden, but not something regularly. You'd be better off to put it in your compost bin and let it break down that way, or even in your worm farm. And why I say worm farm is because when we lifted up the bag underneath to have a look, it was like spaghetti hanging out of the coffee bag, where the bag of grounds were, the coffee grounds were, and the worms were sort of stuck in there and sort of travelling, either burrowing up or burrowing back down. So they were connected between the earth and a bag of coffee, and that was just quite an amazing sight to see. Now, I showed you a worm down in there. They're down deep below because the top section really has slowed down, and the life in soil is really not that active, and I really don't want to be putting anything too heavy here to activate it. You know, I'll top dress it in the next week or two, but in the meantime, what I am going to do, well, this will probably activate it anyway, is use the coffee grounds. So I've got a bag over here. This is yours truly's coffee grounds after, well, I don't know how many times we've emptied the machine out. Just a little espresso machine. Now, I've got it in a bag here. Well, there's a worm there, but I'm going to pick this spot down here. All right, so I'm going to just tip it on top like John did. He had a lot more than our bugger. I'll just put it all, bugger. There's nothing else in here really growing. So I'm going to do that. And instead of a bag, I'm going to use the hessian over the top. I can put mulch. I'm just going to sort of hold the hessian down a little bit. I just thought about this. Well, I didn't think about it too well, did I? So a little bit of soil around the edge. I'm not going to try and bury the entire hessian, just to stop it from, I don't know, it won't blow away, I don't think so. And we're going to come back well, we'll inspect it on a regular basis, but we'll come back and see what happens. Now with coffee, just a couple of pointers. If you are collecting it, more times than not, there will still be a percentage of moisture in the grounds. So if you've got them bagged in a plastic bag or you put them somewhere where they're not getting enough airflow, they will start to develop what we call mold on top. Some of it could be good fungi that's growing on it. Some of it may not be. Can't tell you exactly, but most times it's the good stuff. So get it out of the plastic bag, and that's why I'm using the Hessian here. And still, I mean, it's going to breathe better, but a bit of mold will grow here and there, but that's the fungi kicking in and starting to break it down. So that's the whole processing of it. The aim is to make sure it's not anaerobic. All you want it to be is aerobic. But the bigger one here for me, and look, I don't recommend you go doing piles like this in your garden bed. This is purely, again, another trial to see the worms that are down deep below feeding on the straw that's decomposing at the base, whether they come back up and start to feed off the coffee and see if they like that. And that'll give us a good idea to see what worms like. So if you've got a worm farm, you can be throwing your coffee grounds in there, which I think you should be doing already anyway. This is just to validate how much worms really like coffee or not. Maybe like a caffeine hit. As a matter of fact, I might have an Irish coffee now. Check out our website, vasilisgarden.com. From me, Vasily Maresi. We'll come back in a few weeks and see how it's going.